Hello, I'm Cheryl Marks Young. In my last video, I spoke about the hopium epidemic in business, and it is so important to me that I'm going to continue that conversation for a little while longer. There is a cure for the hopium epidemic to improve your business results. And in each one of these videos, for a few more weeks, I'm going to speak about different ways to really implement those cures. There is not a one size fits all. However, we also know that hopium is not a good business strategy and it is not a plan. And for those of you that may have missed the last video, what I mean by that is hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a plan. We need to put real measures and real steps and real actions in place. And we need to help our employees, our vendors, our customers, our clients, ourselves, our families, anybody who is supporting, anybody who is a stakeholder in our business. We need to help them understand that as well. It starts with each of us who is the business owner, business leader, or anybody in the business that wants to step up and really make a difference. So today, I want to give you a few tips and an idea, and I dare say, yes, maybe a new book to read. So one of the books that I have been reading lately, and you'll see my notes on top, is The 4 Disciplines of Execution. This is an oldie but a goodie, and what I love about it is that in 2012, when it was first released, there was a very clear plan. And in 2021, by the time they had done more research, they released it again with more information, more understanding, things that we already knew, those of us working in the same industry already knew, that we can tell people what to do, we can give them actions, we can give them plans. But if we forget to engage them in a way that meets their need, engage them in a way that they can hear us, that they can connect to what they're doing. You may have heard in the past the term WIFM, what's in it for me. That's not always exactly the engagement we're talking about. Sometimes it's how can I connect, engage to that thing that I'm supposed to be doing. So let me throw out a few words that might help, right? So engagement, what does that truly mean? That's not pizza parties. That's not talent shows in an organization. All those are kind of fun, but it doesn't necessarily engage someone in the why they're doing the thing. What is it going to result in? How is it going to improve? So here's the other words. We have lead measures, we have lag measures, and a scorecard that matters, right? So those words may not be new. The scorecards, we used to call them huddle groups with a huddle board, right? Think of sports, think of a scorecard in sports. Think of multiple scorecards, KPI measures, key performance indicators. What's your company dashboard? What's the one metric that you can follow? We've probably heard all of those terms. But the lead and the lagging measures are really important. So most of your accounting measures, they're lagging. You get your financial statements. By the time you get them, everything's already been done. It's too late to change the past. A lead measure is something that you can impact, you can influence today, that if enough of those steps are taken, that lag, that result, that financial statement will have a changed number in it. The lead measure is different for everyone in your organization at every level. So a lead measure at the CEO level might be different than a lead measure for someone on a manufacturing line, right? A lead measure for them, if they're operating a machine, may be something as challenging or simple, depending upon how you look at it, as how often does maintenance occur on that machine. If the machine is maintained at a good level, then it won't break down. Right? And if the machine's consistently operating at the right level, your production off of that machine will either stay steady, which is what you might want, or it might increase, which is what you might want. And then with a scorecard, creating some healthy competition between different shifts, if there's a day shift and a night shift, and there's production levels, You may remember an old story about Charles Schwab, where he went into a manufacturing plant and it was underperforming. And he simply asked someone on the shift, how much did you produce? How many units did you produce today? And I am oversimplifying the story. So for those of you that know it, you'll know that it's oversimplified. And he took a piece of chalk and they said, we produced 6 units today. And he wrote a big 6 on the floor and he walked out. The next shift that came in asked, what's that big 6 on the floor? And they were told by the manager. The big boss visited today, and that was what the shift before you produced. Well, they didn't want to be outdone. So they did 7. And when the next shift came in the next morning, they saw a big 7 on the floor. And they thought, okay, we're getting this game. They ended the day, their shift, with a 10 on the floor. And it helped. It helped them all to compete against their own personal best and up their game. So what's in it for them? There was camaraderie, there was engagement, there was a leading figure that helped them start the day and say, hey, if they could do 10, we could do 12, right? So that's kind of what's leading and what's lagging, and how are you presenting that to your teams? And one thing that has been found in management analysis and studies is that when you engage everybody, including yourself, in that, we might say gamification, but I'm going to say simplification of gamification. Choose one leading measure that you can influence. So you must be able to move that needle forward. You must be able to take that action and be able to do it. So all too often we say the number at the end of the day is something we can move. Well, we can, but not directly. And you might say, well, Cheryl, that example you just gave us of chalking a number on the floor, that was a lagging measure. Yes, it was. But the lagging measure was not the act, it was the influence that changed a mindset where they then had the ability to choose the leading measure, which is, how am I going to approach this? And we're going to do what we have to do. And they knew the steps. So push a little harder, potentially, make other improvements along the way, getting their mindset in the game of business, if you will, to say, hey, if they could do that, we could do better. It becomes the leading indicator to create that end result. Hopefully that makes sense. So really, in their case, it was getting their mindset and choosing the message that they needed to see every morning in order to engage them fully. So one of the other things is a scorecard. That number on the floor in that story was the scorecard. What people need to see is a leading measure and the lagging measure. If they only see lagging and they feel like they can't do anything after the fact to fix it, morale and their ability to make a change will go down. If, however, they see the leading indicator, which you can try and figure out, what is that thing? Is it an emotional, like, hey, I see this and I see it more often, and I can engage and get everybody else engaged and rally everybody around a positive action step, and then see that that step worked in that moment. So you want to show them both, that the action that they took actually made the improved lagging measure improve in the direction that you need it to improve in. So that is my quick conversation for now on curing the hopium epidemic. These steps will take you one step forward. It will engage your team, it will engage you, and you can use this from any seat, from your seat for you alone, and to help influence those around you. I would love to hear what your leading and lagging measures are for you and your business. I'd love to keep this conversation going. Thanks for listening.